Coming up on today's show, we're going to check out some of the main takeaways we had from the Falcons' second week of OTAs. We've got minicamp right around the corner, but the organized team activities are soon going to be in the book. So, hey, let's check out some takeaways from it. Now, before we jump into all that, if you are looking for a Falcons YouTube channel that has the latest news and rumors, make sure to subscribe down below. We are at 12,570 subs. Producer Rolly puts a ton of work in for this channel, so reward him with some subscribers down below because we have the Falcons news and rumors beat, plus elite ball knowledge, interactive content, and who knows, if we pick up some more subscribers, we can persuade our bosses into doing some watch parties this fall, talking to that Falcons-Jags game in London. Hit that sub button and let's get the numbers up. Now, let's jump into some takeaways, starting with the wide receiver room. So, we've got some good moments, some good flashes out of the wide receiver core coming out of the second week of OTAs. And, of course, Drake London headlines that unit. He flashed as expected. He made a ton of great plays. We're going to hear from a Falcons beat reporter that had some boots on the ground takeaways from it. But Drake London was the first one in at practice, last one out kind of guy in his second season. He was working on ball security, and he's a clear-cut receiver one. I don't think this was a doubt for any person on the face of the planet, but just in case there was one, maybe Mack Hollins' mom, I'm sorry, Drake London is this team's wide receiver one. Now, speaking of Mack Hollins, there were a lot of good reviews coming out of this one. Tori McElhaney, the team reporter, said this: receiver Mack Hollins showcased some crisp, aggressive route running on Friday, showing confidence in executing a relatively new system. That was crystal clear on a double move during 7-on-7 drills where quarterback Taylor Heineke waited for the route to develop, threw it to where the receiver was going to be, and sure enough, Hollins was in the right place to catch it in stride. I hope I am wrong about Mack Hollins not being a good enough wide receiver two to cut it in the NFL. I know that I've been very outspoken and pessimistic about this wide receiver room, and I have read and heard the comments about this is a run-first team anyway. You don't need that deep of a wide receiver room. But listen, if an injury were to pop up, all of a sudden, everyone's slotting up a spot, and I'm not that confident at Mack Hollins being a wide receiver two as it is, let alone becoming a potential wide receiver one. Now, with that being said, if you had to rate the Falcons wide receiver core, how would you rate it? Scale it 1 to 10. For me, it's a 4.6. I know I'm going to get blasted by some people in the comments section, but Scotty Miller and Mack Hollins as your wide receivers 2 and 3, that does not strike a lot of fear into opponents' secondary. So for that reason, I'm going to go with the 4.6. If you disagree, that's fine. Let me know what you're thinking in the comment section below. Moving on to our second takeaway, and that is on Jeff Okudah. So the former Detroit Lion was flashing, making some good, takeaways and game-changing plays, if you will, in these 7-on-7 drills, which are non-contact. But you know what? As football fans, we are starved for real football news and content, so we'll take every nibble we can get. This is what McElhaney had to say on Okudah. Jeff Okudah jumped a route at the last second, getting an arm in front of his receiver's hands. The pass tipped off Okudah, and as he fell forward with the receiver, Richie Grant grabbed the ball, diving for the pick as the ball bounced off falling bodies, back into the air, and into the arms of a diving Grant for an early interception that got the crowd excited. Jeff Okudah so far in his career has largely been unavailable, right? Through the first 2 seasons of his NFL career, didn't get a whole lot of looks on the former Ohio State Buckeye, but I'm very confident that Jeff Okudah can become that top 5 NFL draft pick in Atlanta because he struggled, unfortunately, in Detroit staying healthy, but the last season we saw a good amount of Jeff Okudah on the field, and he can build off of that, and hopefully he can settle into a nice CB2 role opposite of A.J. Terrell. Okudah being good would be massive for this team. I mean, just think about the secondary for a moment, excluding Jeff Okudah. You added Jessie Bates. You have A.J. Terrell. You drafted Clark Phillips. I think those are all great moves and just overall pieces on this defense. But you toss in Jeff Okudah. I mean, this NFC South has garbage QBs as it is, but you really eliminate the passing game from Derek Carr or Bryce Young, and you force these teams to be one-dimensional, and Ryan Nielsen's revamped front seven can just feast on the ground. This Falcons defense could be sneaky good and lead this team to a lot of close games that Bijan Robinson can run them into the W column. So for that reason, I think Okuda could be like an X factor for this team's success in 2023. Now let's look at our third takeaway. Avery Williams, the gadget-ish player. He's kind of bounced around both sides of the football. Real like Friday Night Light vibes right here, where he might play some offense, he might play some defense, but we saw him at wide receiver. Now this is what Torrey McElhaney wrote. Williams was slow to get up after what seemed to be a non-contact injury. He was helped off the field by trainers, and after a few minutes on the bench, he gingerly made his way to the locker room. Now, Avery Williams unfortunately did not return after this. It is June, early June right now. Take it slow. There's no need to rush him back. No need to have him aggravate a lingering soft tissue injury. Avery, we'll see you in July for training camp. I don't see a reason why to push him in during upcoming minicamp unless he really feels he's 110%, because he is someone that's not a guarantee to make the roster, so every snap does count, but it's no good if you find yourself pushing yourself too early and then you're on injured reserve. Now, Williams was impressing at wide receiver before he unfortunately went down with an injury, and if there's a position to be, up for grabs in terms of roster spots, wide receiver is definitely one. I think after Drake London, Mack Hollins, and I guess I'll toss in Scotty Miller, it's all up for grabs. I don't think definitively you can say there are 4, 5, or 6 locks in the wide receiver room. So hopefully Avery Williams can get back to 100% and push himself to make this team at the wide receiver spot. Now, I want to know, how many games do you think the Falcons will win in 2023? I think my record prediction video, I had this team going 8-9. I can easily be persuaded into a 9-8 given how easy of a schedule they have. We need some team to go from worst to first across all 8 divisions in football. It's happened so many years in a row now, and the Falcons are a prime candidate to do that. So I stand here right now and screw it. Put me down for 9 wins. And 9 wins very well may be enough to win the NFC South in 2023. Before we get on to the rest of the takeaways from OTAs, BetUS is back, and they've got an awesome deal for the Dirty Birds. When you go to chatsports.com/betfalcons, they're going to give you a 125% deposit bonus when you use promo code Falcons125. So if you're looking to put some money down on, say, the NBA Finals, Game 3, I'm taking the Nuggets -2.5. I know the Heat won Game 2 on the road, and it was a very exciting game, but the Nuggets are the better team here. I just don't envision a world where the 8 seed is leading the 1 seed in the NBA Finals up 2-1. It's just not happening. Give me the Nuggets -2.5. If you want to fade me, you want to ride with me, make all of your picks at chatsports.com/betfalcons and promo code Falcons125. Fourth takeaway on today's show, an update on the offensive line. So after moving up in the draft to select Matthew Bergeron, it appeared that the Falcons' front 5 was relatively set. Now, some takeaways here. Jalen Mayfield was taking some snaps at right tackle. If you don't remember, Jalen Mayfield was a 3rd-round pick back in 2021. He was a starting guard his rookie season. Unfortunately, last year he started the year off on injured reserve. We never saw Jalen Mayfield, but now he's kind of reverted back to where he started off in 2021 during training camp when he was competing with Caleb McGarry for the right tackle position. So going back to where he started his NFL career off, and I think he could be this team's swing tackle. Matt Hennessy and Matthew Bergeron were competing for the left guard spot. Now, Bergeron's a rookie. I don't see any 2nd-round player just being handed a job coming out of the gate, so I'm not looking at this thinking, ooh, Hennessy really pushing for that starting left guard position. I think the Falcons are just doing their due diligence, and they are making Bergeron earn that position. And for the last part here, Javon Gwynn was getting some reps at center. I think this is nothing more than just the backup center behind Drew Dahlman competition. So that's the update on the offensive line. And our final takeaway, Arnold Ebiketie, a former day 2 pick as well last year out of Penn State, showed some glimpses, had a really good week 1. Remember, I think he got a sack in his first game last season, but after that, we didn't see a whole lot out of him. Now, this is what McElhaney wrote on Ebiketie. Arnold Ebiketie said a goal of his after his rookie season was to add on a little more weight to his frame. He didn't give an exact number, but noted he still has a few more pounds he wants to add. So, Arnold Ebiketie seems motivated, and this Falcons pass rush unit is up for grabs for a clear-cut number one. I mean, Fontenot made a lot of moves this offseason, but not a lot of big blockbuster moves, right? A lot of medium-sized moves. So, whoever's going to lead this team in sacks next year is as good as a guess as mine is, right? It could be Ebiketie, it could be Caden Ellis, it could be Onyemata, Calais Campbell, Grady Jarrett was the team's sack leader last year, so I'm liking what I'm seeing so far out of Ebiketie. It's super early right now. These are non-contact drills. He's not sacking any quarterback, but he did show a lot of promise in his rookie season. More on that here. Ebiketie finished his rookie year with 11 quarterback hits and 2.5 sacks. He was asked about that ratio and what it will take for him to turn those hits into sacks. Ebiketie laughed, saying, "I know I left a lot of money on the field last year. His goal in 2023, to get that money back." These are just things you can file under what you love to hear, right? Ebiketie knows that he was close, but adding a couple more pounds, improving that first step can turn those hits into sacks, and this Falcons pass rush needs that. Last year, the former Penn State Nittany Lion had 30 tackles, 2.5 sacks, and 3 tackles for loss. Barring a major breakout season where he goes off for double digits, if we could take that 2.5 sacks and get it to just how about 5? Just double it, right? Double what your sack production was your rookie season into your sophomore season. That could be a good jumping off point for his 3rd and 4th season where he can really hone in on becoming a near double-digit sack player. So let's shoot for 5 sacks, Ebiketie. I think that's a good goal to have to double from what you had last season. Now, before we get on out of here, I want to know who the real ones are, right? Those of you that are watching all the way through to the end of the video, type me if you made it down in the type me in the comment section if you made it all the way to the end of the video. That way we can identify who the best MVPs are at the channel. That's going to do it for us on today's show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and taking time out of your day to join us. We'll see everyone later with more Falcons news and rumors.